Welcome to Learn About Law. My name is Kevin O'Flaherty from O'Flaherty Law, and today we're going to talk about the probate process. We have a previous podcast and video blog about when probate is necessary, so check that out if you're not sure if probate is necessary. But in this episode, we're going to discuss what the process is for an independently administered estate. In probate, you can either have your estate independently administered, meaning that the trustee doesn't have to seek approval from the court for many of their actions, or have a supervised administration where the court oversees most of the administration of the estate. We have a blog article at learn-about-law.com about when supervised administration is necessary and kind of going through the differences between the two. So I'm not going to deal with that too much, but this is going to talk about an independent administration of a probate estate. So probate is initiated when the executor files a petition to admit the will to probate and to be appointed executor. And notice of that petition has to go to all of the heirs so that if they want to object to the executor being appointed executor, they can show up at the hearing on the petition and do so. But once the petition is filed, with a bunch of ancillary documents that are going to be in the show notes for this episode, so if you're curious about those documents, check that out. But once the petition is filed, the hearing is held, and the court will admit the will to probate, and then the will govern the probate case, and issue something called letters of office to the executor. And letters of office are a court order that gives the executor authority to go and collect the assets, liquidate real estate, and administer the estate. So without those letters of office, the executor can't go and get control of the decedent's bank accounts. The decedent is the person who passed away. So once the letters of office are issued and the will has been admitted to probate, the executor has to send notice to all of the known creditors and all of the heirs that the probate estate has been opened, and then publish notice in a newspaper for 3 consecutive weeks for unknown creditors and heirs that the executor doesn't have current addresses for. And the unknown creditors will then have 6 months from the time that notice is filed to file claims against the estate. So at that initial hearing, there's usually a final hearing date set about a year out, because that 6-month period takes some time, and the administration of the estate, whether you're selling real estate or just collecting assets and distributing them properly, takes some time. So usually the final date for closing the estate is set about a year out. And in between that initial hearing and the final closing date, what the executor will do is figure out what assets the decedent had and collect them and create something called an inventory, and that's a list of all the assets that the executor collected. And the executor will give notice of that inventory to all of the interested parties, so that's creditors and heirs. And it's the known creditors or any unknown creditors who filed claims to the estate. And then once the inventory is prepared, the executor will prepare something called an accounting. And the accounting, again, lists everything in the inventory and describes how the assets are going to be paid out to creditors and heirs. So creditors have to be paid out first. Administrative costs like the executor's fees or attorney's fees or court costs will also get paid out. That actually is the highest priority. And then creditors, and then heirs according to the terms of the will, if there is one. If there is no will, then state statute will determine who's entitled to inherit from the estate. So the accounting lists exactly what is going to be paid to whom from the estate. And again, the executor will provide that accounting to all of the interested parties, and along with something called the receipt of distribution. And that's something that anyone who receives money from the estate has to sign, saying that they actually received their money from the estate. And they'll return that to the executor. Once the accounting and inventory have been provided to everybody and the claims period has passed, that 6-month claims period, and once the executor has received receipts of distribution back from everyone entitled to distribution of assets from the estate, then the executor is ready to close the estate. So the executor will prepare something called the verified final report, where the executor swears under oath that all of the appropriate parties have been paid, all the assets have been collected, and all other duties of the executor have been discharged, and provide that verified final report along with advance notice of the final hearing date to all of the interested parties in case they want to make objections to how the estate was administered. And then at the final hearing date, if no one makes any objections, then the executor the court will close the estate and discharge the executor, and then the probate case is over. So that's what happens if everything goes smoothly in a probate case. There are things that can delay a probate case, like one of the parties objecting to the way the estate was administered, or requesting supervised administration where the court has to get more involved, or the sale of real estate or sale of a business kind of not happening by that final hearing date and requiring the date to be delayed. So sometimes estates will get delayed for those reasons. But typically, if everything goes smoothly, at that final hearing date, the case will be closed and the case will be completed in about a year. So if you have any questions about probate or want to schedule an initial consultation, you can call our office at 630-324-6666. We do offer free initial consultations. If you want to check out more video blogs, podcasts, or articles about the law, you can go to learn-about-law.com, and we have a whole bunch of content there for you. Or if you're a business owner interested in our business owner podcast, go to seizeyourbusiness.com, and we have podcasts and video blogs where we interview business owners about their businesses and find strategies to help you be successful. So thanks for listening.